As an academy owner, you work hard to build trust with your students, their parents, and your community. But trust isn't something you claim, it's something you prove and earn. That's where Academy Safe comes in. We help academies like yours stand out with verified safety standards. Background checks for all staff, U.S. Center for Safe Sports certification, concussion training, defibrillators on site, CPR, first aid and AED certification, security cameras, rank and lineage checks, and verification of business insurance. Join the trusted martial arts registry that's redefining safety throughout North America. Lead by example. Show parents you're accredited with Academy Safe.
Hello, and welcome to My Empty Hands, a podcast about the martial arts, typically focused on Kempo, but we give love to all the martial arts around here. As usual, I am your host, Reggie Darden, and we're going to get into the origin story with our guest here today, Mr. Aaron Lawrence. And whatever other rat holes that we get onto, we'll do that as well. So I always start things off by giving a little bit of my background. I currently train in multiple martial arts, American Kempo, Hapkido, Capoeira, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Muay Thai. I also have some experience in Taekwondo and a little bit of boxing. So like I like to say, I stay busy, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So let's go ahead and turn it over to our guest here, and go ahead and tell us where did the martial arts find you? Where did it all begin? And we'll just kind of go from there.
Well, thank you. And thank you so much for having me, Reggie. It means a lot. I really appreciate it. It was really cool to just sort of run into you on Rob's pod. No, it wasn't even his podcast, it was Instagram Live. And I just jumped on and saw you. And then he had me on for a few minutes. It was a good conversation. So I really appreciate it. This is very cool what you're doing, I think.
Yeah, just for real quick context for the listeners. Rob Ingram with the McDojo Life website and all of his various videos. He does a live stream on Instagram, YouTube, whenever he feels like it, and just kind of chats with folks about different things, and kind of whatever they want to talk about. And Mr. Lawrence here was on one of the live streams, and I was watching the live stream. And sometimes when I see people on the live streams that kind of pique my interest, I will reach out to have them be a guest on the show. And so that's how we found each other. Also, a kind of a little side note here, I guess. I have a still yet to be released quote unquote lost episode that I did with a man by the name of Jeff Campbell, and I believe you two have had a chance to meet. One of these days I will get to Mr. Campbell's episode and get it released. But it's a small world, and now kind of seemingly random folks get connected. But that's a story for another time. But let's get back to your journey and where did it all start?
Well, thank you. Yeah, awesome. Absolutely. Man, so just so you know before we start, I'm extremely abstract. I'm all over the place with my thought, where things come from. I can go down rabbit holes. So I like that you say that. I've actually got notes so that I can try to stay on track a little bit, so it's a little more linear. Thanks to my wife for being extremely linear. She keeps me on track. We are definitely a yin and yang couple. So I guess, for me, I've always been extremely physical. I have to get energy out. I've got a lot of energy. It's just the way I've always been my entire life. And my father was a baseball player, a big baseball player, loves the game. I believe it's the greatest game in the world. I love it. And he always taught me about practice. He always wanted to talk to me about the virtue of practice and how, if you want to be able to do that thing, like I would watch TV and see something, Star Wars or whatever, and be like, man, I want to be able to do that. Or martial arts movies, he'd say, if you want to do that, you can do it, but you have to practice. And he taught me how to practice. So I think that's where it started. I've also got a deep sense of protection of family and wanting to be the protector. I'm a huge fan of Mr. Rogers. I grew up on Mr. Rogers. I'm 48, so I'm not a spring chicken, but I cannot say enough about Mr. Rogers and his outlook, and that emotions are power. I never really signed on for not crying or not being somebody who can use their emotional power. I mean, that's exactly what Bruce Lee says, things have to have emotional power. So through that, watching the old Kung Fu series, and what else, Jackie Chan and Rumble in the Bronx, that was one of my favorite movies. Like, how does he dive through a shopping cart? Like, what the heck,
Yes.
right? Like, super cool. Obviously Karate Kid. And then my brother was taking Taekwondo, and if you had my brother sitting here, he would tell you that the reason that I trained martial arts is because I jumped after him. He's 12 years older than me. I was, I don't know, 12 or 13, and I ran and jumped after him, and he swept me, and I just went, bah! And he will tell you that was the inspiration. I don't disagree with that. I think there's other few things working there, but I had another family that I grew up next to. There were 3 brothers. They were all very rough and tumble. I mean, these guys were getting into street fights and doing all sorts of stuff, and one of them had stories, and they were good friends of mine, We used to play King of the Mountain all the time. And as I grew and got a little bit bigger than people, I started to be able to win, and that felt good. I as that grew, I just started to say, like, well, what about martial arts? I really like martial arts. And I grew up out in the middle of the desert, New Mexico. We had no resources, no money. I'm very lucky to have parents that were very educational. They were very open to, hey, if you want to learn something, you read a book. If you want to, and a little bit esoterical as well. My mom always said the quote, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I really, really believed that, and I still absolutely believe that. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Well, what does that mean? That means you have to be ready. What does that mean? That means you have to practice and work on it with what you have, which could be extremely limited. You may not have the physical ability or the financial ability or the geographical ability, but if you really focus on something that you want, and I don't care if it's martial arts, it could be Fabergé egg collecting, like, I don't care, right? If you want that, the ability to do it will come, and it has been proven throughout my life. It might take years. It may not be satisfying immediately, but it happens. So the 3 brothers, they moved. I was 12 when they moved into my area, and they were a part of a church, and one of the women in their church was a sensei. She was a Nidan in Shoshin-Ryu, and this is in Albuquerque, New Mexico. She was teaching at a community center, and at that time we had read some books. Oh my goodness, I'm trying to remember. It's an Aikido book that's very, very, very popular. It's back from like the 60s or the 70s. I know Ora T was, he drew all this stuff with it. My goodness, I can't remember. It doesn't matter. So we were reading the books, and I was just trying to pick up anything from everybody. And my real belief back then was that when I'm 80 or 90 years old, I want to be the little old guy that if somebody tries to do something to him, it's not even a thought. He's just so able to see every angle and notice every angle, that he doesn't even have to get his breath up or use any strength to be able to defend himself or his family. So that didn't really lend to, at the time, like anything that looked strenuous. It really lent to like Aikido type stuff, or the theory and the practice of what was presented in all the Karate Kid movies, right? Like the mind is what does it, not the body, right? And she very much, her name was Debbie McCullen. She very much embodied that. She had just got done recovering from a really bad accident. She was all of 5'2". She was in a horrific car accident and had been in the hospital for several months, and then had just started teaching again. It was inexpensive. I had just started driving. I was like 17. I was 17, and I was hanging out with these 3 boys, and all 4 of us went to her class twice a week. And she was a master at small joint manipulation. She had to recraft her art from very physical. I mean, there were old photos of her, with her foot way above her head doing a sidekick and all the cool stuff back then, right? Cool stuff now. So anyways, that really inspired me, because I'm like, I don't need to do 150 push-ups to be able to defend myself or my family, right? So I started training with her in Shoshin-ryu. It was extremely painful, because you put your hands on her and you were dropped to your knees immediately. And I really appreciate that for me, because I am a big, strong dude. Like, I've got all the faculty. I've been very lucky in my life to have a healthy body and, fitness and all that stuff. Soon thereafter, I trained with her for 3 or 4 years. And then just by happenstance, I started really working in the rat race and having a full-time job and doing the thing. And my job was later in the evening, so I couldn't make her classes as they were earlier in the evening. And there was another gentleman that at the time I really didn't like. His name was Dale Snyder. And he was a sensei in Shoshin-ryu, but his classes were at 10 o'clock at night. Or 9 o'clock.
That's
very late. And he had
that's very unusual.
Yeah, very unusual. He had like 3 students. And the reason I didn't like him is because he was so rough and tumble. And I swear this guy was born in the wrong century. He should have been back in the cowboy days. Eyes sunken in and black, chiseled, just like he'd been in the wind for 30 years. Just a really interesting guy and incredibly smart. He was like a mathematician, like literally a mathematician. And I started going to his classes, and every time I went to his class, something was bleeding and something was bruised. I was just getting beat up. And I didn't start that way, right? The whole Mr. Rogers thing, right? With emotions first type of person. If I were raised in sort of the school structure, I would have been the bullied, not the bully, I want to be everybody's friend. I just want to, all the things. So that was rough. I had to balance that for a while. And luckily I had some other mentors in my life and my parents being one of them, that were like, if you want to learn, you have to grow. And sometimes growth is very uncomfortable. Sometimes you have to be the person that doesn't want to get beat up and go get beat up and see what it's like. And if it doesn't kill you, if you're open to learn, you're going to learn from it. You're going to become better for it, right? I think that's something that I would offer to my students or anybody listening or watching, is that, it's this meme society that we have right now, right? With Instagram and everything, with all these memes that say, if you want to get better, get uncomfortable. And that's absolutely true, but it's so surface. Like, you actually have to become uncomfortable to do the thing. Like, you actually have to do stuff that you don't want to do or you suck at, and you've got to fail and go through it. And at the time, I didn't realize, I didn't have any of those memes. I didn't have those words. I guess I did. I had the words from my parents or whatever, but like, I didn't have experience with that. So I kept going. I received my Shodan under him in 99. And shortly thereafter, so our system is a very eclectic. The organization is a nonprofit organization that runs the system, and the reason that it's nonprofit is because of the rampant ego that is commonly found in martial arts. And it has been commonly found in Shoshinryu as well. I am not bad-mouthing anybody else. I will not do that specifically. It is just the truth. You give someone power, they're going to use it. And they can use it for good or they can use it for bad, right? And a lot of people that can have weak minds and weak hearts will use it for not so good. So back in the late 80s and early 90s, there were three gentlemen that were part of an organization that was splitting apart itself. Ego, between two of the people that ran their system. And they decided we don't want, like, literally the goal and the essence of Shoshinryu, truthful heart way, is to just train. Just train. So they wanted to set it up to be as low budget as possible. Anybody that wants to train Shoshinryu can train Shoshinryu. So they set up as a nonprofit organization. It still is a nonprofit organization. So if Reggie wanted to train Shoshinryu, he just didn't have the financial capability. He went to somebody out of their garage dojo. It was $45 a year. That's it. I mean, yeah, we train in uniform. We train in gi. The only reason that we train in gi is it is a tool. It's not some sort of flashy thing. In fact, we don't put anything more than this or the kanji, and that's it on our gi. To really just beat down the ego of any student, right?
Yeah.
you don't get to have your own colors. You are a student. You are just a white, a blank slate, right? The white gi is a traditional way that we do things. So, anyways, so that's how Shoshinryu started. That's how I was able to attend, is because Debbie was teaching out of her, the community center, and it was like $30 a month, I think, something like that. And I got my first gi because I had a birthday present. Somebody, gave me like a gift card or something like that, or said, yeah, here's $50, go get a gi or whatever. Carrying on with Shoshin and how that works. In the late 90s, so they started the association in 93. I started in 96. I got my Shodan in 1999 under Sensei Snyder. And he never wanted to teach the masses. He literally only held a class so that he could get better himself. And through him, I met some very interesting people. We're a very traditional sort of karate style. So we have 2 kata per rank in the Mudansha ranks, which is white to black. And then I think it's 4 kata per rank once you get out of black. But the black belt ranks, I'm Sandan. I'm a 3rd degree black belt, and I've been training for 30 years. I tested for my Sandan in 2011. So I've been the same rank for 15 years, which is wonderful in the fact that I have been grown into a system, and I'm thankful for this, that rank doesn't matter. And as soon as you think it matters, you're offered lessons to say, well, this guy just grew up fighting on the street and he has holy genes and he could probably beat the crap out of anybody. He doesn't need that. He just goes with what he has. So what is the martial arts, right? The martial arts is it's more than just fighting, and that's how it should be, in my opinion. I think a lot of good people are finding that out now. And that's what I was finding at the time. So Snyder wanted me to expand. So Snyder said, there's this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school down the road, and I want you to just go do that for a year. And I'm like, no way, man. I don't want to do that. I want to do Shoshin. He's like, well, I've been rolling with a few guys, and nobody knew what rolling was at the time. I mean, yes, the UFC started in 93 as well, right? The first one was in 93. It was a thing, but I hadn't heard of it at that time. I didn't have cable or watch TV hardly at all growing up. And I went and talked to a school, and they came, and they were very interested in what I did. And I was worried that it was going to be like a dojo war thing. I was young and sort of scared.
Oh yeah.
And they were like, where do you train? As I'm in their gym asking about what they do. I was like, oh, I told them, And they're like, well, we'd like to come up and visit sometime. I'm like, well, I mean, all right, And sure as hell, they did. They came in, and my teacher said, like, hey, how you guys doing? Because I had told him about it. Like, hey, apparently these guys want to come visit. He's like, yeah, it's no problem. I got no fear, no worries about it. That was something that I really liked about Snyder, too, is that I realized that I didn't have what martial arts gives you is this initial ability to not have fear. I mean, obviously we talk about that and everything's there. But for me, it was like I can walk into a room and say, well, what's the worst that could happen? So I negotiate contracts, and I work with a lot of general contractors and subcontractors and owners and architects. And I am responsible for my company getting a good contract that makes money, right? So when I walk into a very intimidating situation, I used to just, my heart rate would shoot through the roof. And it really, martial arts gave me this ability to say, what's the worst that could happen? The guy over there loses his mind, or whoever, right? This group of people loses their mind, and now they feel like they want to beat me up. Right? Like, that's really the worst thing that could happen. Physical danger, your inability to live your life the way that you want to live your life. Like, they could make me feel bad. They could call me out for a mistake and hurt my ego. I go to my boss with my tail between my legs. That's ultimately not that bad when you think about it, right? You have the spectrums that you're starting to learn perspective, right?
Exactly.
So it gave me this power, this power to do that. And I was like, man, I want to be able to give that to other people, but that's a little bit later because of my teaching career. But yeah, so they came and they were like, well, this is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. This is what we do. And they were very, very much into the wrestling aspect more than the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at the time. And they were like, this is called rolling, and we'd like to do it with you. And, you do the thing. And he's like, yeah, I've done this before. And I had never rolled before. Not even close. Kata, Ippon Kumite, planned, they hold their fist out and you do all this stuff. That's how I grew up, right? I was a black belt in that. Still am. And so we rolled, and I remember the first time I was trying to get this guy, he was the owner of the school, and he put me into a guillotine. And I'm taller than most people. I'm 6'5". And so basically it was a flying guillotine because I was trying to wrestle him down or whatever. And the whole world flashed before my eyes. I was so scared. I was like, this guy, I don't know this guy. And being in an art that I know, and it's really peaceful, and it's about peace and self-defense rather than ego or sport, I was just scared. And then we hit the ground, and I'm like, this is it. My head's gonna hit the ground. I'm gonna be just in pain. And nope, I landed on a cloud, and then I felt things tighten up, and things started to disappear, and I tapped. And it was fine. It was totally fine. And they were super respectful, super sweet. And I was like, there's something to that. There's something. And that's what my teacher was saying too. So I did not stop Shoshin. But that was a crossroads there. Because I was very concerned about if, it was at that time too that my brother was training with a gentleman that was just calling me out and my school out for just being total BS. Oh, that traditional stuff doesn't work. It makes no sense. They were watching the UFC at the time, which, yeah, from that perspective, you get all these guys going in there, these 10th degree black belts, and these getting beat up by 18-year-old Muay Thai guys. Right? I just remember one of the interviews. I don't remember the guys' names. I'm not good at names. I'm not good at lineage type stuff,
No worries.
I just remember one of the guys saying he was like an 8th or 10th degree black belt in some traditional style. Probably very good and very powerful at what he did. And he's like, yeah, I think that whatever Ryu is going to show itself today. And no. Very confident, like ready to go. And then you have, I literally, I think the kid was like 18 or 19 years old. He's a Muay Thai kickboxer. Beautiful, just cut and like, ready to go. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go out there and just, do my best and we'll see. And it lasted like no time at all. The Muay Thai guy just obliterated this poor guy. There's something to that, right? There's something to sparring. There's something to going against somebody who does not want to let you have it. Is like, I'm not going to play by your rules. I've had some experience with that too, outside of anything that should be okay in a dojo. Just that view started to shift. So I had a real crossroads as to what I wanted to do with my martial career. And I think I was, again, very lucky to have some mentors in Shoshin-Ryu at the time who, part of Shoshin-Ryu, and again, a lot of different aspects, but part of Shoshin-Ryu is like, or the joint manipulation, the judos, the grappling arts are when you lose your weapon. Like as a samurai, right? You're using your naginata, you're using your sword, you're using your short sword, you're using a rock, you're using your body, right? Depending on how bad the fight goes. And then you're using joint manipulation, and you're using throws and grappling. So that's sort of the basis of it. It wasn't just because we don't do just kata because Sensei Joe says so. We do it on purpose with introspection, and the basics that we train should be evolutionary, and they should be they should grow your perspective and your introspection. And honestly, basics should be a basic as it sits and stands for a certain amount of time within a rank, and then you should transcend those basics as a senior practitioner. So I didn't have this view of traditional martial arts as just being because it pays homage to a historical figure. Traditional martial arts should build a peaceful warrior. And anything that we do should be with that purpose and not pointless, right? I mean, Miyamoto Musashi says, like, anything that you do it 100%. You go through it and you find every single part of it, right? I'm totally saying the wrong thing there, but
no, I got you.
yeah. So I that was my crossroads. I was like, okay, I can go roll with these guys because it's a lot of fun, and I know that I'll be a good fighter much sooner. Okay, I can go on the competition circuit and do the thing. I never did, but I could have. I was raised by parents that said that, you can do whatever you want. You just got to drill the crap out of it, right? Or practice a lot.
Exactly. Just real quick, I wanted to kind of make sure I had some clarity here on. So I'm not particularly familiar with Shoshin-Ryu. So what is maybe, I guess, like the breakdown or you said you weren't really good with the lineage stuff, but like what's the break? So if we take something like Kyokushin, they say that it's kind of a mixture of Goju-Ryu and Shotokan. And sorry, people, Kyokushin folks, if I'm saying it wrong or whatnot, but something like that. So like, kind of what's the breakdown or the makeup of Shoshin-Ryu?
Yeah, so good question. Excellent. So Shoshin-Ryu, there are still the other arts that I said were breaking off at the time, and we the gentleman that started Shoshin-Ryu even split off from that. Excuse me. It was called Kokondo, and Kokondo is still out there. In fact, there's a gentleman in Florida. Oh my gosh, what's his name? I follow him on Instagram. I'll share him with you later, and I apologize for the podcast not being able to remember it. But he's exceptional. Moves very, very well. He's written a book. He's a Kokondo guy. So the historical thing is, and that had influence from Kyokushin Kai. In fact, one of our Ippon Kumite basics for kick defense, it very much reflects that art. And it's still in our art. We love it. It's it's good stuff. So yeah, it came from very traditional karate style, hard Okinawan style. emphasis on self-defense, emphasis on drilling self-defense, and it looks from the outside very well, from anywhere really. It's this very traditional karate sort of style, and obviously if you've got Kyokushin or Shotokan, it's very hard and a lot of sparring, a lot of just hard sparring, I guess I would say, like bare knuckle stuff, right? Then you've got the Ishinryu, which is very Okinawan, right? They're very much into kata and weapons and kata. Yes, they do spar, but I've had some experience with some very dear students in North Carolina who are still Ishinryu people. So I would say that our blend, definitely the way that we are, we have 5 fingers. Well, it's 5 fingers in Goshinjutsu that build the hand that is Goshinjutsu or self-defense. So we have kata, basics, newaza, which is ground stuff, which we had it before, but until the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu influence came in, it was not newaza. Early 2000s, we started, the Shoshin organization as a whole started to realize, oh my gosh, we do not know what we're doing. We need better influence. Nage, sort of throwing, judo, right, and weapons. So, and all of that makes up the hand that is Shoshin Ryu. So, you talk about people, or not talk about people, but you hear from people in martial arts that say, happens a lot when they walk into my dojo and they don't know what Shoshin Ryu is. They say, oh, well, that's judo. And then they say, oh, that's, weapons, kali, or whatever. And I'm like, yes, it is. You're right. Those lines are blurred in the Shoshin Ryu martial artist very, very much around late level brown belt and early level Udansha black belt. Those lines very much blur. The student is very much encouraged to know who they are and how they move and how their structure moves against other people and by themselves. How do I make my body move with more power, speed, and accuracy? And then they start to say, well, I always see, I'm going to call Ogoshi, a major hip throw in judo, one of the very first throws that you learn. I see Ogoshi in this situation and nobody else really sees it. So now my self-defense looks a little bit different than what should be on paper for the rank, or you know what I mean, or whatever. So they're able to they say, well, this is how I move. You should move that way. Absolutely. You should use what tools you have. Don't just do it because sensei says so. So I hope that answers your question. I'm sort of bad at history when it comes to it.
No problem. That's way much more information than I had. So
cool.
That's definitely. Thank you for that. So just kind of going back to the jiu-jitsu. So I take it from the quote unquote schooling that you got in rolling. I'm assuming that you started to integrate maybe some Brazilian jiu-jitsu into your curriculum, or how did that kind of go?
Yeah. So I'm very careful not to sound or speak to the chip on my shoulder, but I will say, here's what I will say: Shoshin Ryu would have had Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brought into it no matter what. If I didn't exist, if I didn't have a breath on this earth, Shoshin Ryu would still somebody would have seen it and said, "Holy smokes, we don't know what we're doing." And I'm glad you asked that question, because something that's really important about Shoshin Ryu is that we're a little bit like an amoeba. Like we're gonna go grab that thing and we're gonna take it and we're gonna eat it and we're gonna work it up and do our best to even make it better. But not from an ego side. Like, oh, we're gonna take what you have. We're gonna steal your trademark and make it better. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, holy crap, Reggie has a sidekick that I have never seen, I'm going to go drill that sidekick. I'm going to invite him to come teach a seminar. I'm going to feed him a bunch of food. We're going to have a great time. And then I'm going to ask him if I can drill this with my students. And then, if he says like, no, this is my trademark, then I'm going to just say, oh, okay, that's cool. But we're going to train it. We're going to drill it because it's effective and it's better than we've ever done. So that's what we did with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I got rolled, knew that we couldn't move. My teacher was saying, yeah, we do not know what we're doing when we do this. So there were a couple of people that were looking for a place to train. And I had in the situation of our dojo at the time, we had Tuesdays and Thursdays in the evening. And I was like, yeah, you just have to pay, our landlord a little bit of money and we can start up a little Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class. They were not ranked in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but they had a lot more experience than me. So we worked technique and we rolled. We worked technique and we rolled. We worked technique and we rolled. I am still not ranked. I don't even have a white stripe in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But I've been doing it for the better part of 25 years. But we trained a lot. We rolled a lot. And I think it was 2 years later, somewhere in there, like 2000. It was 2002 or 3. I went to one of our national seminars, and we have a nationals every year. We call it nationals. It's where just everybody in the nation is invited to come train, and we do the thing, right? And there was the senior leaders of our system. I was excited. And I hardly knew them at the time because I didn't live in their cities and I didn't train with them much, but I knew they were nice people. I was like, hey, there's this thing that I've been doing. It's called Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. They're like, oh yeah, we've heard of that. We don't really, whatever. And I was like, well, check this out. And I was like, this is what you do. Like you slap and tap and you do this and you do that. And man, I mean, they couldn't hold a candle to me, like at all. I rolled the crap out of them and they loved it. And that's the cool thing about Shoshin-Ryu too, is like, if you can best me, yeah, please do. Please do. I want that. I've been very lucky to be, my mentor. I've been in seminars with him with someone else. In fact, it was a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school in his town when he started really getting into it. This was years later, like 2008, 2010. And to watch him ask questions, to see somebody that's been doing martial arts for the better part of 40 years and is a very big fish in his pond, and is respected by other people and knows what the heck he's doing, to ask somebody who's half his age, oh, why do you do that? What is that? Oh, so I should be moving a little bit this way or doing this or doing that? Like, how do you, and why, and what, and really tell me, I want to know, right? Is just a huge gift. Because it grows in him, and it grows in me, and it grows in our students, this ability to just be open to learning. So they took that and ran with it. And I think it was the next interim of curriculum. So we update, I don't want to say change necessarily, obviously it involves change, but we update our curriculum requirements every 7 years. And that doesn't mean that a white belt in, I'm going to say 1995, isn't going to learn anything close to the same stuff that the white belt starting in 2002 or whatever, right? That's not it. But there are going to be little changes. So I think that the biggest one that you have seen over the past 20 years is the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or the Newaza requirements, right? No, you have to know how to buck and roll. You have to know how to trap arms, how to do a scissor sweep, how to do a triangle choke, things like that. So yeah, what then happened? So Brian, my mentor, he found a place in Minneapolis and he was training with. He still trains with this gentleman. I don't know what rank he ever got to. He's still teaching. He's still there. In fact, I'm going to go see him this year. But I honestly don't know what rank. I would assume maybe brown. He's probably a brown or a black belt by now. But that's another thing too, is that Shoshin we don't really advertise, in my opinion, enough. We don't get out there enough because I think that what we have is valuable, but we don't get out there and I think I've been one of the biggest proponents of like having an Instagram page and talking to people and saying, hey, this is a value. And it's not just about Shoshin Ryu. Yeah, it's a conduit, right? I received my Manang black belt in FCS Kali in 2024. And Ray Donaldo does a very good job of saying, you have a following. This is something he said that inspired me a long time ago. He's like, if you have a following, you have a responsibility to feed that following. And feeding that following means that you have to grow your art, because if you don't grow your art will die. If you don't have enough people interested in it that want to carry it on as you get weaker and die, it's going to die with you, and that's not responsible. And I totally agree with that, right? I stand up for that. That is all to say that I don't know what Brian's rank is, but he's incredibly good on the ground. And the school that I went to, the teacher that teaches him, he does Northern Mantis Kung Fu, I believe, and he's a high level Machado brothers or Machado's lineage Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, just a tactician. I mean, this guy he's amazing. Really good. So that was part of the influence, and Brian was bringing that into the system. As back in the time, they were the leadership and bringing the system. So now, yes, per rank, we have Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in all of it. I love rolling with people. One of my students is now a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Well, my students. He came and trained with me in North Carolina for 4 years. And during that time, we worked up his first degree to second degree black belt in Shoshin. He was a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at the time. He moved back to Minneapolis, and now he's I think it was the same year that I got my Manang in FCS. He got his black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm like, you bastard! You beat me. I don't even have a white stripe, and here you go. And yeah, I can't even touch him. I can't even hold it. If we're just rolling in the context of rolling, I need to poke his eyes out or go for goring or something, because they ain't happening.
Yeah, no, jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu definitely opened the eyes of a lot of martial artists.
Yeah.
I will shamelessly plug one of my previous guests. One of my Brazilian jiu-jitsu professors got his start in Kempo, and he was a high-ranking Kempo black belt, and he tells the story way better than I do. So I urge the listeners, if you haven't, to go back and listen to the episode with Philip Bullock, and but he came into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with a different mindset, being that he was a high-ranking Kempo black belt. He figured he was pretty badass, and went into a jiu-jitsu school, and proceeded to get manhandled by a young man, and when my professor it's like, that was kind of a fluke or whatnot, and proceeded to get rolled up pretty quick again and again. He ended up talking to this young man and was like, oh, well, wow, you really showed me, you must be been training for forever. And I believe this kid was like, oh, I've been training like 3 months.
Oh,
and versus years of hardcore Kempo training. And so my professor then found himself in his car rethinking his life, and now he's all into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But I always really love that story, just in that there's always someone better, and you don't know what you don't know until you get exposed to it. So yeah, definitely check out that episode if you haven't already, and That's going to be my little shameless plug here. So
Love it.
we're going to go ahead and pivot a little bit here. We've been kind of flying through time here. So as I do with all my guests, I never have time to get to everything. As much as I would love a 15-hour episode, I don't think
We do
people
the Joe Rogan
are
thing,
ready
get
for
to
that.
like 3.5 hours.
Yeah, I don't. I don't think. I don't think I would do that. Maybe one of these days I will do that, but right now I kind of keep it about an hour. But I wanted to go ahead and move into the teaching side of things. So I like to ask how. The teaching side of it. When did you get involved with it, and was it something that you were always interested in, or was it thrust upon you, as it is with many of my guests?
Yeah.
So how did that come about?
Interesting. So yeah, absolutely, it was thrust upon me. Well, I mean, I started teaching a kids class, so I had got my Shodan, and then I started teaching a little kids class. Because Dale, my teacher's like, I don't want anything to do. I don't want anything to do with kids. He wasn't teaching kids, so I think I had like 12 kids. I was teaching, I was having a great time, And then I was also helping, teaching when he was off for a night or whatever. And then I got a call from him about a year later. So this is early on. I was a maybe a year and a half, 2 years into my having a Shodan, my first black belt. And he called me and he's like, "Hey, I'm stopping. I'm not doing Shoshinru anymore." Like, he literally calls me and says this. I mean, the most shocking thing ever at that time. I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "No, I'm gonna hand you over all the paperwork. You're responsible for the lease with the building. Da 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 da. Just when you come in tonight, like, I'm not even gonna train. We're just gonna talk about this stuff." And yada. I was like, "What? No way." Well, he's extreme in that way, and I appreciate it, right? Like, I'm not really that way, but he is, and I appreciate that extremity, or that extremism. It's probably the wrong word, but he just disappeared. He went and he had a few people that he was grappling with. He was getting older. He was probably in his mid 60s, late 60s at the time, and so that was it. So I got thrust into teaching in Albuquerque. I had the students, and I actually sort of grew that dojo. I sort of went into it, with a mindset of fun and charging actually more money. I charged a little bit more money for that. So, by the way, we're nonprofit, but the satellite dojo, like my dojo, if I wanted to go open a storefront right now, I'm just not that in that spot in my life of teaching and training right now. I had a storefront in North Carolina, and my student there took it over, and he's running a very successful dojo now. You can make profit off of that. That's no problem. Personally, I can do it myself and earn whatever on. I can do it for a living and just, do all the things. But the Shoshinru as a core association is nonprofit. So, yeah. So that's what I did. Anything in life that you do early on, as you grow, the reasons that you do it change, right? The reason that I still train martial arts is not the reason that I started martial arts. Now it's much more from a perspective of giving it to others and seeing how deep I can get on my own training and my own physical capabilities, and my relationships with people such as yourself. Like, I really enjoy finding new people and how they think about things and how they look about things. And I'm starting to realize that it's okay that I offer who I am as well. It's part of the reason I was so excited about this podcast and you inviting me, is like, I need to get out there more, just like I said earlier, and just put it out there and see, because I think I'm finally growing a bit of confidence to say I may not be as good as other people in certain specific arts or whatever, obviously, but I've definitely got something to offer and a fresh perspective that I think that is valuable. So I'm starting to get out there more. And I think that that's something that's really pushing me as to why I continue to teach. So last little bit, yeah, I got thrust into that. A couple of the black belts there were in Albuquerque, and I was leaving Albuquerque, so I moved to North Carolina in 2004, and I was there for years, almost 15 years. We moved here into Eugene, Oregon in 2019. Through that time, I had raised several black belts and met a bunch of people in that train, and then moved on and then got their black belt under other Shoshinryu people and now run other dojos. It's just a really cool thing for me to look back through history. So I did all that, right? Kids classes and adults classes and seminars and all the stuff. Now I'm in my garage. I have 4 students. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 students. I have 5 students under me right now, directly. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm doing it as a bit of an experiment to say I know these people so sort of intimately because I only have them to interface with. I don't have a lot of new blood coming in or a lot of kiddos coming in. And I can sort of beat on them a little bit more. I can get with them on a more personal level a lot quicker and a lot deeper than if I was worried about paying rent and said, yeah, I need to keep, a certain number of heads coming through the dojo door to pay that rent. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I'm probably going to get back to it in the next few years. But right now, I'm really like, this is a phase of life and training for me where I've got just these core students. I'm going to get them to their level and help them. And I don't know, it's just a cool thing for me. So I've got, everything moves, everything changes. Why I teach for now is just to just stay in the game, stay alive, build on things. I want to continue my depth of information with FCS Kali. It's a great family. It's a great interconnected group of very kind-hearted, good people that train hard and have some incredible skills. And Shoshin is the same way. So that's why I teach now.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. I like it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move into our what I call the lightning round here. I've got a few little questions for you as we head towards wrapping up. As we've mentioned before, of course, we can't get to everything in one show, so we'll definitely have to have you back on to get into more parts of your story. But we're going to go ahead and move to the lightning round here. So the first question that I have is, do you have a favorite technique?
Oh, a favorite technique. Good Lord, son. Again, I'm way too abstract for that question, Reggie. I'm way too abstract for that question. Oh my goodness. A favorite technique. Probably should have written that down. I'm gonna change the question just a little bit. I have a favorite modality that I'm going through right now that is a bit adverse to what's going on in the world, and that is kata. I'm really digging into kata, and a lot of people are walking away from kata. A lot of people badmouth kata. A lot of people write books about how bad kata is, and then you watch their Instagram, and the first thing they show is a cooperative drill where people are just drilling it over and over again so that they can understand the depth of why and how it works. And I'm like, that's kata. So
yeah, I'm in agreements with this, and kind of bringing it back to Mr. Ingram and the McDojo life. One of the things that he says when he's encountered with things related to kata is that shadowboxing is a kata. I mean, right. If you look at what kind of things you're supposed to get from a kata, those are all the same kind of things that skills and things that you get when you do shadow boxing. So yeah. I mean, everybody's entitled to think how they want, but
yeah,
I mean, if you break down what each of these things are, they're very similar. So
and how to move
I'm a fan of kata.
How to move you, and on literally how to grow neural pathways so that you react much quicker with confidence as opposed to being caught on your heels. Man, I could talk about it all day. So go ahead. Thank you.
Exactly. I like it. All right. Well, then this perfectly leads into the next question there. Do you have a favorite form, kata, Poomsae, whatever
Ah,
term that you guys use.
yeah. So the one that has been an anchor for me, and sort of an anchor for Shoshin-Ryu as a whole. It's taught in Blue Belt. It's called Konsho, and it is a. There were three, three different kata that were created by the gentleman who was the king of Kokondo back in the day. So it's sort of fresh. I think it was created in like 1973 or something like that. It's not a very like an old school one that you're going to see on some old, you know, karate reel from the 20s or something. So Concho, and you can find videos of me doing it, you know, on the internet and places. So yeah, that's the first one where you change a lot of different directions. It's got some kicks in it. It's got some good stuff. But there's a real awareness in this, like owning the room when you move through it, that gives a student a lot of confidence and cool stuff to look forward to. So yeah, Concho.
Very nice, very nice. All right, next question. Do you have a favorite weapon?
Favorite weapon is stick, baston. So yeah, that's just one that I've really gravitated towards with FCS. Something that I really enjoy. I like doing the, you know, Shoshin early in the days. Back in the day, was all double stick, so it was all two stick stuff. They call it nitanbo. It's just a more traditional Japanese style of calling it, you know, short stick and two of them, so nitanbo. And as I grew in the system and sort of started to understand things, my relationship with Sensei Tuhan Dianato grew. I started to say like, well, there's more than just double stick. And you know, as I sparred with people with stick, I was getting my butt kicked because all I ever did was two stick stuff as a partner. So like, okay, that's a kata. So I had to see the other extreme part of like, well, that kata doesn't serve you in that context. So context is huge for me. Next time we talk, come back on, we're going to talk about context, because context is everything. So yeah, now in our rank structure, we do have stick stuff, and it's split. There is some double stick for Sinawali and Heaven Earth and things like that, and then we have single stick so that you know how to actually block and strike and disarm. So
Very nice, very nice.
yeah.
All right, next question. If there's anyone that you could train with, living or dead, fictional or non-fictional, who would that be?
Miyamoto Musashi.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah,
Very
I
nice.
would like to see who he was as a person and understand. Um, you know, when you actually are in a room with somebody, you're gonna know more about them than just on the book. And I gotta say, you may not like him. Like he might have been a very well, obviously he's very extreme. He had very extreme thoughts. He has some thoughts that are very mind bending and transformative to the world of martial arts, and anybody that reads. I mean, the world of business, right? You have corporate strategists that are handing out the Book of Five Rings to their senior people because they have to understand the way of strategy and how to win. Right? So I might not like him. He might be an asshole. But I think that I would learn a lot, and I think Miyamoto Musashi would be like the one that I would train with. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. I like it. All right, our final question there. What is something that always motivates you to train, and or something that you'd like to put out there to motivate others to train? So I've typically used the example of the movie Rocky Four, the training montage. He's out there lifting the rocks and running through the snow and chopping the wood and all that good stuff. Whenever I see that scene, I get excited to get out there and train, get into the dojo and on the mats and do my things. So, what is something like that for you that motivates you to train, or something that you want to use to motivate others?
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to mirror that with discipline. So you hear a lot of people say, especially in the fitness world and things like that, that you have to be disciplined. Motivation doesn't matter. Like, forget your motivation. You need to be disciplined because you're not always motivated. Well, I've been lucky to be a highly motivated person, and not a very disciplined one, admittedly. So I think that what keeps me motivated is honestly not wanting to die young. I want to
That's a
say,
pretty good reason.
yeah, I want to stay as strong and healthy. My motivation is education. I want to understand my body and how it works, and I want to realize that, halfway through my career, like I told you, I wanted to learn a technique that I didn't, or an art that I didn't have to be able to do 100 push-ups to be able to do it. Right? Didn't have to be strong. That very much my view and my educational role, or view of that grew later on, when I realized that, well, if you get to 60, 70, 80, 90 years old, if you don't have a structure of strength in your body, more muscle mass than fat mass, things like that, right? As a sort of typical, normal, healthy human being, obviously there are things out there that are going to take you down. Obviously there are conditions that nobody can control. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is paying attention, keeping yourself motivated for living stronger longer, so that when you get to your 70s, 80s, 90s, you're still able to get up off the ground. You're still able to go up at least a flight of stairs, in and out of bed, because that's what it's all going to boil down to at some point, right? Self-defense is health. Self-defense is being able to walk, being able to drive, being able to get up. It may not be just, I can win at a fight. Like, self-defense is about what you eat and about what you can do. So I find that motivational to just say, like, well, create a routine, make it fun for yourself, play some good music, practice getting yourself into that mindset repeatedly, so that you can continue to keep doing it further. Because as I have been inspired by others, I want to work to be inspirational to others, and I can't do that if I'm not here long enough or strong enough.
Exactly. Very well said. All right. So we are now at our final piece of business for our time today, and that is the shameless self-promotion. So you can plug anything that you want, or if there's anything that we haven't covered that you wanted to make sure to mention, you now have the floor, and then we'll close out from there.
Yeah. Boy, I don't think I'm very good at shameless self-promotion. I don't put myself out there enough. So I appreciate the opportunity to try to get better at it. So I think that, with physical capability and with the ability to defend themselves comes a lot of responsibility and power. I mean, it's the age-old thing, or it's the very sort of cliche thing of Spider-Man, right? His uncle telling him, with great power comes great responsibility. I think that martial artists, specifically for the context of the conversation, have a responsibility to do the right thing. When I see a lot of ego flying around, when I see like these fighters about to fight, and they spend the whole time for the couple of months before the fight just bad mouthing and trash talking each other, I'm lost. I don't like doing it. I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to be a part of the money aspect of that. I'm okay with people making money. I would rather fighters make more money than they make in like UFC or whatever it is. I really do. But when it comes down to it, I'm not about that for the masses. I want people to be inspired to learn to make themselves better and be the best that they can be. I think that Shoshinryu gives that on a very deep level. Part of what we do is the Kokoro series, or the heart. And that's looking at stories, right? You shared a story about Sensei Bullock, about how he came to be a different person, and that's highly valuable, right? And that's what I've seen year in and year out with Shoshin Ryu, is people becoming better at who they are because of what they do in martial arts and in Shoshin Ryu. And that's what it's about. So the decisions that I make now and how I go throughout my day are different because of Shoshin Ryu in a more powerful way than they would have been 10 years ago, and what they would be now without it. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes.
Because I can read the room, I can navigate and extract myself or my family quicker, and I can have more joy, and I can let go of things, right? I can look at a situation and not put myself in that situation. And I think that, or stay in that situation just because of my emotional being at the time. Like if I get angry, I can identify that anger quicker. If I'm feeling shame or fear, I can identify that much quicker. And I think Shoshin Ryu, taught by a sincere teacher, can give that. And I see that. I see that in people in FCS. I see that in Shoshin Ryu. People in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world that I train with, people in the Judo world that I train with, they all have that same thread.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. All right. Well, yes, I thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show here and sharing your story. And like I mentioned, we'll definitely have you back on to get into to more things. But yeah, I'm excited that we were able to connect, and looking forward to sharing your story with all my viewers slash listeners. And yeah, I just can't thank you enough for being on.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. This has been great.
Right. Okay.